Hey there, survivors, how's it going? I'm your host Douglas here at Drownboy Productions, bringing you another Screaming Ghostface Collector's video. And today we're going to be kicking off the first part of a two-parter, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Unfortunately, there will be no masks in today's video, but in the second part there will be. However, I think some of these items might be a little bit cooler than what's in the second video. I guess it's just entirely up to what you guys think. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. And both of these videos are sponsored, but before you fast forward or click away, they are sponsored by the person that has sent me these items. It is horror related. It's definitely worthwhile to check this out. Our sponsor today is Chase Smith of Little Shop of Horrors, and I'm sure that many of you out there are well aware of Chase and all the cool things he's been creating for many years. Chase is a great sci-fi and horror artist, but the two franchises that he's most well known for are creating replicas from Alien and from Scream. Many of you out there probably know him for his Alien stuff because that's what he's been doing continuously for so long, but many years ago, Chase was one of the leading replica artists for different Scream stuff, from robes to having an insane collection of vintage masks that he was selling back then, all sorts of fantastic faces, tagged, untagged, fluorescence even. In fact, the very first Tag Fantastic I ever bought was not a ghost face, but it was an orange Tag Fantastic, and I also did get an Orange Fantastic Faces Gen 1 ghost face directly from Chase. But as I mentioned, most of you probably know him for his Alien work, which is absolutely phenomenal. And that's pretty fitting because I think we're going to go ahead and kick today's video off with one of his Alien items he sent me. Here we have this really cool miniature alien head. And this is supposed to be a magnet or like a wall-mounted art piece. This one, however, does not have the magnet in it. I need to put one on there myself, but he did fully paint and finish one and send it to me, and this thing is gorgeous. I'll hold it up to the camera just a bit so you guys can see a little bit closer of a look, but of course I'll put some close-ups in probably at the end of the video. This thing is incredibly detailed, incredibly well painted. It definitely captures that classic Alien paint style, and just overall is a great homage to Geiger's work and just the Alien films as a whole. This thing is packed with so many amazing details, like the skull underneath the dome piece here is fully painted, and it's just painted super well. With that dome over it, it just looks incredibly cool, but also super menacing, especially from the front. And one of my favorite details that you almost can't even notice, it's going to be really hard to pick up on camera, but inside of the closed mouth, there is the little mouth. You can actually see it separately cast, painted, and everything. The depth and attention to detail on this is absolutely incredible, especially looking at some of these like very, very fine spots in here, like where it's pretty thin, but also really sturdy still. Just looking at how well painted that is and constructed, this thing is truly incredible, especially for the scale. Alright, enough yapping about my love for the thing, let me tell you a little bit about it directly from Chase himself. Alright, these alien magnets were sculpted by Daniel Kalos. I think that's correct, it's K-L-O-S for any of you out there looking. They were sculpted by him, and these are available in painted and unpainted kits. So if you're somebody who likes painting miniatures or just painting in general, you could definitely pick one of these up and give it a custom paint job or finish it up pretty much exactly the same yourself. There's also two different versions. You can get it with a custom base, which is really, really cool. I like it with the base, but without the base is the other option, and it still looks really, really great, but it's pretty much just the head of the alien. As for pricing, he says the one with the base is $200 painted, $85 unpainted, and without the base is $165 painted and $60 unpainted. So only 35 bucks more for the base. Personally, I would go with the base. It looks really cool. That's pretty much all there is to say about these, but if you're an Alien fan, Chase's work is impeccable. Whether it's one of his miniature statues, a head just like this, some full-scale work, his Alien work is top-notch. And with the new Alien movie coming out, and the marketing campaign for this movie is looking phenomenal, I'm sure some of you out there may be interested. So if you are, Little Shop of Horrors. Alright, let's move right along because I'm ready to spill my guts about this next piece. Here we have some spilled guts of Casey Becker. So this is a wearable, like it has elastic on the back, some Velcro and stuff like that. This is a wearable, I guess, section of exposed hanging intestines. This was initially made for a Casey Becker cosplay, and Chase had that for a while. I guess he decided to part with it, and he offered to send me these intestines. Now, will I end up using these on that life-size Casey Becker that I'm still eventually going to make? I still have the pieces, just when I can, I'm still going to make that. Will I use it on that? Will I use it for something else? Who knows? More than likely, I'll probably try to use these for teratoma or something, but who knows? They might end up coming in handy. Regardless, I greatly appreciate it, Chase. Who can say no to a nice pile of guts? All right, and finally, what you've all been waiting for, here we have what I would consider to be the most accurate replica Buck 120 knife on the market. Now, this is just going as far as the ones I've seen online, the ones I've seen in person. I think that this is the most realistic, bar none. I've seen plenty that were like flat silver, those look okay. I've seen some that are super chromed, like the one that I got from Clive, which is more akin to like the Scream 2 knives, and those look great. I do love those. But as far as achieving that realistic metal finish, this is by far the best one. I've put this knife out just in general, or walked up to people with it, not acting like I'm going to stab them. That's a bad idea. Don't do that. And they thought that this was 100% a real knife. Whenever I told people that it was fake, they did not believe me until they handled it themselves. And in person, it is very, very convincing. If you look at the blade, not only does it have that certain level of shininess that steel has, but it has these little brush strokes across the edge of the blade here that are supposed to make it look like it's been sharpened before. And that extra layer of detail just really makes this thing come alive. The hilt as well looks great. The actual color of the hilt versus the blade is slightly different, just like on a real Buck 120. And overall, it is a pretty phenomenal knife prop. However, it does have some downsides. So let me just go ahead and get into the details and tell you guys about this knife. It came with this little care sheet, which I will currently read to you, and then I'll read some more information that Chase sent over to me. It says, metallized paints are very delicate. Take care not to rub the blade or handguard too often. While this will make it more shiny, rubbing will eventually wear down the chrome paint and expose the black clear coat underneath. That's the primer layer. The handle and metallic paint on the handle is more durable than the blade itself. The stunt version is more durable and can be mishandled a lot more. Do not stab anyone with this knife. It can cause injury to others. Even though this is a knife replica, treat it like a real knife. And you also have to be careful not to damage it. While I will say, and I do say this with 100% certainty, at least from what I have seen, this is the most realistic Buck 120 replica, it still has the flaw of you have to be very careful with it. This is not something I would recommend to the common cosplayer who's going to carry this around conventions for hours and hours and hours. After walking around the con for a few hours and it rubbing against just the little slightly textured fabric of your Scream robe, it very well could rub some of that paint off. And of course, if you're trying to do the whole blade wipe thing, you're probably going to damage the paint. However, if you're the type of person who is mostly just posing for photos at home, doing photo shoots, whatever, and you want a realistic looking knife without someone possibly having the possibility to be injured, I would definitely go with one of these. I think they're incredible replicas, but as far as durability, that is something to worry about. All right, as for the information that Chase sent me, this is what he said. It is clear coated in 2K clear coat. He added a machined steel and sharpened effect, which is what I mentioned about the edge of the blade. It looks great. High quality metallic mirrored paints, they do look good, molded using a mint vintage Buck 120. Now, many of you are probably wondering, is this the Buck 120C or the 1995 Buck 120 model? And no, it is not. It is just one of the probably older pre-stamped versions. So it is a vintage Buck, still has a great shape to it. But if you're that worried about those small details, it's not that version. And of course, he does offer these available as an unpainted kit, so if you just want a casting of a Buck 120 to paint yourself, he can provide you with that as well. The quantity on these are extremely limited. He only does them in batches once every few years, so I'm not even certain by the time this video makes it out if he still has them available or not, but feel free to reach out and see. If it ever is in heavy use and has some paint issues or whatever, he does offer for you to send it back to him for touch-ups for a small fee. But he said mostly these are for display purposes, so if you're the type of collector who has the phones and a bunch of random nonsense, the voice changers and stuff like that, this would definitely go great on display. And as for the price, these are $185 plus shipping for them painted and $65 for a raw unpainted kit. And with that being said, I think I've covered everything I need to in this video. A huge thank you to Chase for sending me all these items. The Casey Becker guts are interesting, and I'll find some way to put those to use for sure. The knife, of course, is absolutely gorgeous. It's a fantastic replica, great work on that. And the alien magnet, this is currently the only alien collectible or xenomorph I can think of that I currently have in the collection, and it is a great one. I absolutely love the sculpture, the quality of paintwork, everything about this, and it makes me hyped to go see the new Alien movie. Yet again, for those of you listening, Little Shop of Horrors is who you're gonna go to if you're interested in any of these, and this is part 1 of a 2-parter, so I will see you all in part 2. I love you all, thank you for watching, and see you next time.
I wish to create a perfect human being, selecting the best organs from different corpses.
In all cases, the killers are eating the flesh of the people they murdered. Repeating this. It has been established persons who have recently died have been returning to life.